All right, so this is a quick recap of what we did today. We started out with our do now, and that for your do now, the question was, what does CAD stand for? And I believe most of you got it correct. We stated in our presentation a few days ago that CAD stands for computer aided design. So that is a design that is aided, computer aided. All right, so we got back into Tinkercad and we did another lesson. Today's lesson was for us to start on a die, creating a die from scratch. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. We use this class code and your Tinkercad nickname that I messaged you on Friday. So we should be familiar with logging into our account for Tinkercad. Again, if you've had any issues logging in to Tinkercad, please send me a direct message. So let's get started. So remember, whenever we are on Tinkercad and we're going to these lessons, we always start by clicking on Learn, Lessons, See All Lessons, and then we scroll down until we saw Die from Scratch. So this is similar to what it will look like. I won't go through all of the steps, but I will go through as many steps as we made it to today. So I think we got to doing the second number. If you were able to completely finish the project, great job, and you were able to do any other lessons that you wanted to do on Scratch, but we will pick up the rest on tomorrow. So I'm going to click restart this project. These lessons are step by step. They do give you directions, and your directions are found all the way to the left. So it tells you to begin by finding the blank die shape. In the shapes panel, you will find it in the symbols shape panel on the right side of the screen. So if you look to the right hand side of your screen, you see where it says basic shapes. This shape is all the way down at the bottom. It is really called die, and it's not called dice because it's only one. So we're going to click the dice, die, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to put it in the orange hint space. Notice when you have it exactly right, it kind of blends in with that hint on your work plane. All right, it says a tip, you may need to change the shape drop. So we already did that. You are able to change the color. So right now it is this bland gray color, but you are able to change the color if you'd like. I'll change it to this color. All right, and we're going to click next. Now we're going to, it says to locate the work plane tool at the top of the shaped panel. So this is your shaped panel. At the top of the shaped panel, you will see your work plane. All right, you will click and drag a new work plane on top of the surface of the die. So let's click on the work plane, and let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see. And if you notice, it already has a square that tells you exactly where that work plane needs to go. So we're going to click on the work plane, drag and drop it exactly there. All right, and if you rotate it, you're able to see that it's there at the top. All right, and we're going to click next. All right, now that we have our work plane, it's telling us that we need to put our 1. Okay. So if you come here where we found our basic shapes, we're going to click this down arrow in order for us to have more options. And we're going to choose text and numbers because we want the number 1. Scroll all the way down and go to the second page. And it's at the bottom of the page, so let's scroll up until we see our number 1. We're going to click on the number 1, drag and drop it here. All right, so that is our number 1. And we're actually going to change this from a solid to a whole, because know that whenever you look at a dice or a die, the numbers are not sticking out from the actual dice. Everything is flat. So we're going to just make it a whole. And we're going to go next. All right, it says because the 1 is sitting flat on top of the die, we need to adjust it and make it cut away from the surface. Let's move the shape down to 1 millimeter to fit the area highlighted in orange. So let me rotate it just a little bit in order for us to see. So it's showing you how high it comes up, and it's asking us to move it to 1 millimeter. And it says that changing the snap grid, which is down here at the bottom left hand corner of your work plane, you can change this to give you a different look as well. So it's telling us to change it from 1.0 millimeters to 0.25. All right, so let's click on this dot in the middle. Click it, and we're going to drag it down until it says 1, and then release. And that's that. All right, let's click next. It says let's repeat the previous steps to place the other numbers on the other side of the die. Grab the work plane tool and drag it to another side of the die. So let's rotate this a little bit so we can put our number 2. All right, so just like we did with the number 1, we have to start out with the work plane. So it's telling you exactly where the work plane needs to go. I'm gonna rotate it just a little bit more. All right, too much. All right, and then we're going to click on work plane, drag it and drop it exactly where it shows it. There we go. And now you see it sitting directly on top of the die and ready for our number. So let's click next. And now we have to place our number 2. So we'll put our 2 here, and then again we will make it 1 millimeter inside. So let's grab our number 2. It's there. We can rotate it a little bit. You can see it. And we need to adjust this to 1 millimeter. But first, let's make it a hole. All right. I'm going to click the dot in the middle, and we're going to minimize it to 1 millimeter. There we go. All right, and now you can rotate it. And you can see that we have our 2 sitting right on the outside of our die, and so is our 1. And these directions will definitely just keep repeating itself. But I wanted to click the next so that you can see exactly how it looks. So that's the 1, that's 2, and we still would have to put 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. But that is something that we will pick up on tomorrow. If you feel comfortable with it, you are more than welcome to repeat those steps and complete 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. But that's what we did today, and so I'll stop there. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, I will see you tomorrow. I hope you all have a great night. Talk to you later.